Muted. I was so close to getting it all right, but I was muted. We are live. I am Adam. This is Highly Articulated. And today we are going to be talking about the SDCC exclusives. Yes, that is right. The 2024 San Diego Comic Con is coming up. It starts Thursday, I think, of this week. Maybe. Let me turn that off. It starts on Thursday of this week, to the best of my knowledge, and goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Lots of exciting stuff to see, lots of exciting stuff to do, lots of panels to go to, lots of artists to meet, signatures to get, new products being revealed, being released, on and on and on, stuff for sale. Exclusives, though, are what we're going to focus on today. And just sort of the idea of exclusives. The idea of exclusives, what does it mean? Should they be hard to get? Should they be easy to get? I will muse a little bit about that, but we will look at some of the Comic-Con exclusives first, and then sort of I'll tail off with my thoughts on that. And I might be in the minority. I get that. But spoiler alert, I think they should be hard to get. But more on that, towards the end. I do want to, as I said, go through some of the exclusives. Now, I won't be going through everything. There are so much stuff. I'm not even gonna touch, the exclusive covers, for comic books and things like that. I know it's San Diego Comic Con, but I guess the kind of wild thing for me is, like, I read comic books, but I don't need or want, exclusive comic book stuff. I am the guy that gets, whatever cover I'm given by the comic book shop. I want the story. I want the actual content. Very rarely do I buy variant covers. Very rarely do I buy, multiples of anything or anything like that. So for me, the whole the exclusive covers, the variant covers that you can get at San Diego Comic Con. I'm not. I don't even know. I don't know what the books that I read are doing at Comic Con. I genuinely, like, to me, San Diego Comic Con is more about the toys, because I am a toy collector primarily. I just read comic books, and when I say collector, I say this all the time. I don't feel like I'm a collector in the way that a lot of people say it. I just have a lot of toys. I love buying toys. I love getting new toys. I love adding to the collection. But if I miss something, if you miss something, you miss something. It's a bummer, and you can get sort of down because you missed something because it was hard to get, or whatever. But at the end of the day, I got lots of toys. I mean, my desk is full of toys. I'm not really gonna lose much sleep over missing an exclusive, but there is some that I will want. There's some San Diego Comic Con exclusive toys that I would love to get. There's others that I think are cool that I don't need. I don't even, like, it's so weird, right? Because we have this, like, need versus want, and then within the idea that, all of this is want based, none of this is need based. Even sort of within that perspective, it's sort of like there's things that I want a little, and there's things that I want a lot. So anyway, I'm gonna go over the things that have piqued my interest, um, and sort of just talk about exclusives a little bit. But before I do that, let me just check in with the chat. The Collecting Brothers is here. I presume that is John. Good to have you. Ray Paz is here as well. Wraith Mace, Brick Something, Red 5. And that's everybody in the chat at the moment, but happy to have everybody here. Rick said, sadly, San Diego Comic Con hasn't been about the comics up front for decades. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, I think, it probably started when the comic book company started branching out into doing other things, and just sort of as a result, I think we can probably sort of look at that as sort of the turning point, when they were announcing Marvel Studios. But did Star Wars do it before that even? Maybe? I don't know. I admittedly didn't pay that close attention to it because I've never even been close to going just because of where I live and just because it never. Okay, so it's a weird thing for me. I would rather spend more money on toys than I would on like going to San Diego Comic-Con, if that makes sense. And that'll come up later when I talk about the exclusives as well. But I mean, like the idea of like buying a plane ticket, then booking a hotel, then figuring out, transportation and food and all that kind of stuff. Um, that those are the numbers that go through my head that go like, okay, how like that's a whole, how many shelves of toys would it cost to go to San Diego Comic-Con? And for me, as somebody that lives in Canada, it adds up really, really quick. And so it was never something that was on my radar. Um, and again, to that point, like the exclusives, when they used to be like truly San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, I knew I would never get them. I knew I would never get them. And so that's sort of where my feelings about exclusives are. Also, I think my parents may have um, had some part in my sort of feeling about exclusives too. But anyways, Star is here as well. Long time no see, Star. I feel like you haven't been in the chat in a while, but good to have you for sure. Um, and Brick says that's exactly why I have never been to Legion's Con. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Too scared of the idea of spending money to go somewhere to spend more money. Yeah, and that's just it. I never sort of looked at a con, and I think it might have to do with proximity too, right? I mean, for Brick, I mean, Legion's Con is on the opposite side of North America. For me, there's nothing within at least a 4-hour drive. So for a lot of people, especially on the East Coast, I got to say this: on the East Coast, I think collectors are kind of spoiled by how close a lot of things are. But but anyway, I'll sort of get to that. Red Five, who is I'm like 95% sure Canadian. Agreed. That's thousands of dollars used elsewhere. Exactly. Ray Pass says comics at New York Comic Con was more panel based. Seems more about cosplaying for the goers now. There's comics, but I don't know if they are all exactly comic book lovers. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I think at the end of the day, that's maybe I think there's something to there might be a connection as well to sort of the rise of digital media and sort of the subsequent sort of decline of physical media where even at comic book conventions that I've been to that are sort of like toy slash comic book conventions, it feels like a lot of the comic book tables don't get this nearly as much attention as the other ones. Um, but yeah. Brick says you should check out Emerald City Comic Con someday. Good size and a fun mix of stuff. It's in Seattle. That one is sort of on my radar a little bit. Seattle's not too bad for us. I mean, we can drive there. I don't need to fly to Seattle. I can drive to Seattle. I have done multiple times. I've driven to Seattle and back in a day. So I would not want to do that now. But when I was younger and a little more foolish, I driven there and back in a day. So drive down, spend a night, drive back. That's entirely possible. It's on my list. It's on my list. Star says I was going to go to Legion's Con, but cost got a bit too much with everything that goes into it. Absolutely. Um, Plus everything gets revealed within the day, so you're not missing much. That's another thing. Is like it used to be like if you were into like Toy Biz, what was it called? Toy Biz Magazine? Is that what it was called? That doesn't sound right. But like Wizard Magazine, I remember Wizard Magazine, you'd see what came out at Comic-Con like a full month later because they would have to like take the pictures and process it and get the thing printed and ship it and all that kind of stuff. You would find out way later. By then, the exclusives are long gone, but The San Diego shift was 100% because of Hollywood's presence starting in the late 90s. Yeah, exactly. So movies kind of took over, and that's yeah. I mean, the weird thing is like there's like movie conventions. I don't know why they had to take over San Diego Comic Con, but anyways. Ray Paz says, "I do wanna do at least one San Diego Comic-Con in my lifetime." Ray, I'm there with you. I mean, the idea of going is really appealing, and it has been since I was a kid collecting comic books, in the '90s, and just knowing that it exists. But there's so many great conventions, but it's still San Diego Comic-Con, It's still there's still, there's still a certain allure of the SDCC. There's always gonna be, I think, until it doesn't exist or until it moves or until it changes dramatically or whatever, I think SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con will always kind of be that, um, I mean, for lack of a better term, kind of mecca, like you have to make that pilgrimage, and sort of experience that one time in your journey, and I think that, you know, who knows? With all the things that are going on in my life, I may be at San Diego Comic-Con in the next few years, but it's not we'll see. Um, Star says it's amazing to see what San Diego Comic-Con became after where it started. Originally, it was Star Wars fan gathering in a small hotel. I did not know that. I had no idea. Um, Brick says, "Don't get me wrong, San Diego Comic Con is super fun. It's just blown up, almost to the point of being inaccessible." Yeah, and that's where it's like, it's kind of like it's in a weird way. As much as I would love to go sometime and sort of check off that box, I don't know that I would enjoy San Diego Comic Con as it is now, if that makes sense. But anyway, Ray says, "I want to do 2026, so have enough planning time." Ray, here's what I would say: do it with friends. I mean, Brick saying, don't do hotels, Airbnb in National City or some other suburb nearest a train station. I've heard from a lot of people that like the transit system in San Diego, sort of right around there. Just figure out where the lines go from the convention center and just stay somewhere at the end of the line and just take, public transit in, and you're good to go because it's not crazy expensive unless you're right down in the heart there of sort of the convention center area. I'm not saying it's cheap, but I'm saying if you do it as a group and kind of book an Airbnb or something like that, you can definitely minimize a lot of the costs. The big one for me is flights, and it's just not cheap to get there. That being said, as I said, there's certain things sort of happening that mean that I may be there sooner rather than later. Who knows? And it might make more sense for me to go sooner rather than later. But anyway, um, and Ray's saying I was thinking like walk back and forth. I think as far as where you stay, you're not going to be able to or not you're not going to want to shell out to stay close enough that you can walk there. But the public transportation, which is relatively cheap, is the way to go. Ray Paz says, "I walk in New York City when I go into the city." New York City is tiny. Keep that in mind. Like Manhattan is very, very small. Forgive me, Ray. I don't know exactly where you live, but the West Coast does not work the way the East Coast does, especially when you're talking about New York City. California is sprawl. Nothing is close to anything. It is not a walkable city. Yeah, I wish, because that would make things a lot easier. But right, New Jersey. Okay, so yeah, East Coast. I've been to the East Coast a bunch. I've been to the West. I live on the West Coast, but I've been sort of to both sides. I've seen sort of how both sides work. They do not work the same way. The West Coast is all about space, and as a result, you can't walk anywhere. No one walks in California. It just doesn't happen. Brick says New York City planning is different from San Diego plan city planning. Yeah, it's yeah, exactly. Um, and Ray says I think you guys don't walk a lot. I I walk as much as I can. When I travel, I used to travel a lot by myself. And so I've walked all over New York City. I've walked all over, a bunch of European cities. I've walked all over cities in Japan. Um, I've walked all over Seattle. I've walked a lot in LA and San Diego, but you don't get where you need to go just by walking in those cities. I would say that the city of San Francisco might be the exception on the West Coast, but it's still not like the East Coast. That's all I'll say. But anyways, we'll move on from there. Um, let's see. There you go. Burke says we're dumb about cars in California because of the auto and gas industry lobbying history. Yes. Um, yeah, well, you can. I've done that too. I've walked around Central Park. Like I've walked. I walked basically. I don't know what the neighborhoods are called or whatever. I actually walked from like where you get on the ferry to go to like Statue of Liberty up north of Central Park. Like I walking. I enjoy walking. I prefer riding a bike, but anyways, um, yeah, and yeah, Brick's been to most of the places that I have, and like vice versa. I think it's like it's different. Once you get there and you try to walk around and you go, I'm still like 10% of the way there, this is as far as I've ever walked in my life. Like it doesn't translate. It's really, really weird. But anyways, let's move on. Enough about that. Let's get into the reveals. So or the reveals, the exclusives. These have been revealed in a bunch of different places. None of these pictures are mine. None of these have all been lifted from different websites. Some come from Toy Habits. Some come from Geek Dad Life. Some come from Toy Newsy. Some come from Toy Arc. And so there's a little bit from a lot of places. These are all, to the best of my understanding, promotional shots from these businesses. So if I'm stealing something from somebody, it's sort of unintentional. Well, obviously I didn't take these shots. I am sort of using the promotional pictures, but no one sends them to me, so I have to steal them from somewhere. I guess. Um, Anyway, let's pull this up. First up, this sort of Darth Maul 25th anniversary of episode 1, Darth Maul. This thing is pretty cool. I actually really like this. What I really like about this is the packaging. I like that they've gone with that sort of power of the force look. I know that some people I think there's some people that were a little critical of the color of his speeder bike. But it matches the source material of the toy. And I think what they're trying to represent is the toy line more so than, like a film accurate thing here. Um I so I think I think this one is cool. I like I heard somewhere too that Hasbro's doing, like, they're moving away from you order it at the convention and you can actually pick this up at San Diego Comic-Con, and I believe that's true of all of them. I'm still confused. I'm not gonna be there, like I said, and it is what it is. Um, so I don't know. I mean, this is cool. It's a cool Darth Maul. I don't collect Black Series, so it's not really I don't need it. I don't want it. But I like it. I like what they're doing with it. The same goes for Death's Head. I think this is a really, really cool figure. And if I saw this on a shelf, I would probably pick it up and take a look at it again. I don't know who Death's Head is. I'm not gonna pretend that I know who Death's Head is. I know that it's a Marvel character. I don't know if he's a hero or a villain or an anti-hero. I don't know which, I don't know if he's like an Avengers thing or a Fantastic Four thing or what. I've never seen him before. He seems pretty like 90s to me. But the figure looks phenomenal. The accessories look great. That cape. I am not I am not a big fan of molded capes, plastic capes, but this one looks really, really good. The texture that they've added to make it look almost like a really heavyweight kind of woven fabric. Um, it looks phenomenal, and like the finishing on the bottom where it's kind of worn out, there's holes in it, stuff like that. I really, really like this. Now, could they have done that as a soft goods cape? Probably. Would Marvel Legends do a soft goods cape? Probably not. It doesn't seem like it's on brand. I really, really like the packaging on this as well. Those Marvel cards going back to the 90s. Again, like if you're gonna do packaging for an exclusive, this is the way to do it. Like the packaging, if I was at San Diego Comic-Con and I had the opportunity to pick this up, I probably would just because it looks so good. I'd probably sell it, later on. But um, it just looks so good, and I think in box, it looks really, really good too. Um, Sorry, just jumping into the chat here. The Collecting Brothers, John said they cooked with this mall set. I think it looks really, really good. Um, let's see. I think this again, the mall set, Star says, "Sweet, I'd be all over this if I didn't already have or prefer the SH Figure Arts version. If I was into the Black Series, this would be near the top of my want list." Um, let's see. Yeah, exactly. Companies are going back to the old pre-COVID way. Exclusives were available at the show. And I think, yeah, it's just the logistics of it. I think they're just able to sort of get them there in time now. Um, and there's still others doing pre-orders. There is, and there's like weird things too that we'll get to. Ray Pat says, "I know Wade and Robo like this one." Sam Rock, I've never heard of this character either. Star says Silver Orc. Sure. I mean, yeah. This falls into that category of like if there wasn't enough that I already wanted to buy, I would probably buy it. But Brick says he was an obscure guy who was in late 90s, early 2000s, but I recently heard he was also in Transformers comics in the UK. And Ray Paz says, yes, he debuted in the Transformers with this look. I think there's two different looks, and then there's also another character called Death's Head too, just to really confuse people. But anyway, that's Death's Head. As far as Hasbro figures that I am interested in this Once a Man Cobra Commander, but I'm not interested in it in the way that a lot of people are. I don't care about the Once a Man Cobra Commander. It's a cool. I love that they're doing this. To me, this feels like a really good San Diego Comic Con exclusive figure. I like that, it's got great packaging. You've got that really, really cool figure that's not going to be needed by everybody. So this, I think, fits that mold of they've done a couple versions of Cobra Commander. They did the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander with the his tank. They're doing the retro card of Cobra Commander. This is using a lot of those parts already. If you want a retro Cobra Commander, you're going to be able to get one. But this guy, this Once a Man Cobra Commander, comes from the movie. And of course, if you've seen it, great. You know exactly where this all comes from. If you haven't, spoiler alert, Cobra Commander gets turned into a snake. So the snake man and the man snake, if that makes sense, are both Cobra Commander. Now, the reason that I want this has nothing to do with the Cobra Commander. It has nothing to do with it being San Diego Comic Con exclusive. It has nothing to do with the packaging. I want it because my buddy Ross sculpted that guy. and I really want it because somebody that I know sculpted it. So this will be one that I'll be trying to get, but really won't feel as though I'm missing out um, if I don't get it. Um, Ray Pat says Death's Head 2 was a Marvel UK character. How did I know about Death's Head 2? But anyway, um, Star says, have they done Globulus and Nemesis Enforcer yet? No, they have not. But Nemesis Enforcer is on the way, as Brick Something says. He has been. It's been a name only reveal, I think, and then there's been a leak of the wings and like a couple other things. Um, and yeah, Brick says renamed Nemesis Immortal. Copyright issues. Marvel is sort of, or Hasbro is sort of famous for their copyright issues. If you look on the packaging here, though, you can see like Nemesis Enforcer right there. You can see Globulus right there. Of course, Falcon, who is very instrumental in sort of this movie. Oh, it's on the front too. What am I talking about? Front and back. And then Roadblock carrying the Snake Man. If you've seen the movie, you know sort of all those references. If you haven't, you should watch it. I really enjoy it. It's terrible, but it's fun. Um, Star says for some reason I thought they'd already made them. No, not quite. They're working on the one, but they haven't said anything about Globulus, which we'll see whether we get Globulus or not. Brick says, I always wanted to see what Cobra Commander's face looked like when he was a Cobra Law scientist. Well, now you have. There it is. As I said, that's one that I want because Ross sculpted the snaky man. It was funny when this got revealed and sort of announced as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. I was chatting with Ross and he was like, he doesn't. The funny thing is, like, he gets this project, gets contracted to do this project. He submits the sculpt. They say, okay, thank you. Here's your check, and then you just kind of keep working. There's a weird disconnect between people sculpting this stuff and when this stuff gets released. They never know when this stuff is actually going to come out. So, um, Brick says this was his transformed snake face, different from his original form. Oh, okay. Like pre-snake form. Yes, yes. Um, Ray Pat says, so how long have you known? Okay. I knew that Once a Man Cobra Commander was coming. I didn't know that Ross sculpted this. So I actually have known about Once a Man Cobra Commander for quite a while, but I didn't know that Ross sculpted this until it was revealed. Um, if that makes sense. I don't so the sculptors that I know, I don't ask them what they're working on or anything like that. If they ever want to share, people share things with me, but that's different. I never ask. Um, what's what's a while? What's a while that I've known about Once a Man Cobra Commander, or when did he work on it? Because I don't know exactly when he worked on it. I've known about Cobra Commander for I want to say like 6 months, give or take, but I can't remember. I lose track. I lose track of sort of what I hear when. Um, but anyways, um, it kind of spoils the fun a little bit, but then you like actually see it, and it's like it's exciting because I don't usually see most of the stuff that I've heard about until most other people do because I don't ask. I genuinely am not sort of like trying to get information early. Sometimes it just comes to me just because of people that I know. Anyway, that's a story for another video, I suppose. Um Star says I would like to see a non-movie backstory for how Cobra Commander rose to power. Was that not the Cobra Commander comic book that came out recently? But then again, that might be like the Energon universe version of it, so I'm not sure. um this snake thing giving Quado vibes. Yeah, a little bit. Like this should come out of somebody's chest or something. Yeah, totally. Okay, moving on from Hasbro to some other companies because Hasbro is one of the big players at San Diego Comic Con, but it's not the only one. Again, and moving, I'm going to move through a few of these a little bit quickly. If you guys have questions or comments, feel free to sort of fire away. And so the comments might not line up with the slide at the time. Um, but Mondo is going to be there, and this is their sort of these are their big exclusives. These are the ones that have been sort of announced and sort of are out there. Um, all very, very cool. I don't collect Mondo stuff. I can't afford to, space wise and dollar wise, because these things are all really, really big. But the exclusives that are cool, the two that I would get, if money and space weren't an issue, are the I think they call it cherry blossom colorway glow in the dark Godzilla 3 pack, which is a really, really cool set of soft vinyl figures. And then that soft vinyl, again, I think this is that cherry blossom glow in the dark scare glow where they put the bones inside translucent vinyl. I was going to say plastic, but it's vinyl in this case. It just looks so, so cool. And these are so fun. I love what Mondo does. I love what Mondo is doing. I feel like Mondo is doing something that's really kind of different and unique because um they're approaching toys as though no, they're not. This isn't unique. As I'm sort of saying Super 7 is kind of the same. I feel like Mondo and Super 7 have a lot of similarities, but anyways, but Mondo's doing like these bigger versions of things that are more expensive, but they're sort of more intricate and they're more unique and they're smaller production runs and so on and so forth. So these look really, really cool. The fact that these are both glow in the dark is largely why they are of interest to me. But they're doing some cool posters and things too. Most of this is all available online, either during the show, like once they get released, they're sort of available online as well, or after, or stay tuned for when you can buy this online, which we'll get to when I sort of get through these and sort of talk about exclusives a little bit, which will probably be like 5 minutes. Anyway, um, but these look really, really cool. I just, like I said, they're too big and too expensive for me. I think that Scare Glow is about 10 inches tall. I think Godzilla is about 9 inches tall. I don't collect Safubi, so it would be a weird one-off, and I wouldn't know where to put it. Anyway, um, let's see. Star says Gabra. I don't know how to pronounce it. It looks like a Fanta promo. Their colors are fantastic. Um, but these are the sort of non-standard colors. Like they've done all these figures before, just in different colored vinyl. Anyways, moving on. Next up, SH Figure Arts. These are the figures that interest me as an SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball collector. You've got Goku with Gohan on the Flying Nimbus. I'm pretty sure that Gohan, is new. But Goku is the Goku that we've seen before. The Nimbus, I think I was trying to compare it to the Nimbus that I have that came with Kid Goku. It looks like it's the same Nimbus. It looked like the same stand. I don't need this. I've got enough Gokus. The Future Trunks with the metallic finish looks really, really cool. Great as an exclusive. Jiren, the same. I feel like the color treatments, these metallic treatments that they do, are great. I feel like 2 out of 3 of these are really, really good San Diego Comic-Con exclusives because Future Trunks already exists, Jiren already exists. They've been out for years. It's been a while since you've been able to get them. So if you miss them, you can get these versions of them. But otherwise, you might not necessarily need them. Goku and Gohan, I think, is a funny one because I think a lot of people want that Gohan. It seems like that's the one that people are keenest on. But As I said, for me, I've got enough Gokus. I can live without these. Um, yeah. Star says, I don't even know much about Dragon Ball Z, and these still look awesome enough for me to buy. Go for it, man. Like they're cool figures. That Jiren has gotten rave reviews. And it's the same, as the existing version, just with shiny metal pants. The sort of shiny metallic kind of makes sense because the when if you know Dragon Ball, when they kind of power up, they're sort of they're surrounded by this energy, and it's not always called the same thing, but like this Kaioken energy, where you can kind of say, oh, the metallic is sort of a reflection of that energy. Maybe, I don't know. There's just different versions, but they're not for everybody. These are really cool. So we get Violent Ken, and then we get Player Two version of Chun Li. Both really, really cool. That Violent Can is a deluxe figure, so it comes with the barrel, the broken barrel. It comes with multiple effects parts. The head sculpts look really, really good. Chun Li comes with more hands than the standard one did, but again, Violent Can maybe more so because this is the only way to get him. But you can get Chun Li. You can get Player One Chun Li. So I'm okay with this being a San Diego Comic Con exclusive. These ones I don't need. I've got player one versions of both of these, and I know that Violent Can isn't a player one. There's a difference. I know. I get that. I have player one version of Ken. I don't need Violent Ken. Um, Raypad says that's what I'm wanting. Plus, once a man Cobra Commander. Fair enough. Um, let's see. Um, let's see. Star is saying, I think in reference to the Revenge of Godzilla movie, that it was at best. I feel like Godzilla movies in general are an acquired taste. You either love them and you can sort of appreciate even the bad ones, or you just kind of don't get it. Um uh Oh, sorry. John says, yeah, that Gohan is great. Actually bought a onesie of that outfit for my son when he was a baby. I actually have a little onesie for my son as well. That's just the orange gi with the Goku sigil on the chest. Anyways, that aside, Jada's got these. Jada's probably got other stuff. I'm not really following their other lines, so I'm sure that there's other Jada toys that are exclusive to San Diego Comic Con. These are just the ones that are relevant to what I collect. So, um, Star says, "Why do I keep seeing the guys from the arcade game Karate Champion when I look at Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter?" I I feel like somebody said that that's what they were based off of, but I could be 100% wrong. That's just something kind of went off in my head when you said that. Um, Next up, we get the Mattel San Diego Comic Con exclusives. Well, only a couple of them. There's others that I didn't include. But we get the Too Bad 2-pack, and then the Hammond Collection Jimmy Buffett Jurassic World exclusive. Uh, these these to me are perfect San Diego Comic Con exclusives. Not only have I heard, so I'm not a big Motu guy. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. I'm not a big Motu guy. This is cartoon collection versions of these two figures. But then you get that torso in there as well, so you're gonna get a cartoon version of Too Bad. And I think what you can like what I like about this is that the cartoon collection is sort of a niche within a brand, and then these characters have never existed in action figure form, so then it's sort of another layer of that. And I think that now that they've got the mold for the sort of two-headed, that two-headed chest mold, they can use it to do the cartoon Too Bad in a retail version. They can do the Origins version in a normal carded version. So, I think you could, if you want this, great, but if you miss it, I don't think if you're a Motu collector, you're really gonna be that upset. And from what I've heard from most Motu fans that I know, no one's really upset that this is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and I like that. What I also like about both of these, and yeah, definitely Jimmy, but no Jurassic Park fan is like, "Oh, I really need Jimmy Buffett with a margarita and a salt shaker, standing in a margarita on a tiki lounge." Like, that's no one needs this. It's just fun. And then doubling down on the fun is the packaging. So the packaging for both of these is amazing. I hadn't seen the packaging for that Jimmy Buffett figure until today. And the fact that you get Jimmy Buffett in a Margaritaville packaging it makes me want it just for the packaging. I don't need it at all. I don't even really want it. I just want it because it exists. And I want it because it's in a Margaritaville and it's just so absurd. And it's the kind of thing that a San Diego Comic Con exclusive should be. It should be something that you don't need. He does not factor into the story. The dinosaurs aren't you don't need those dinosaurs. You don't need a Margaritaville for your collection. You don't need any of that. It's purely like just a fun thing that they can put out. It'll be a limited run, on and on and on, right? The Tuvar and Badra Too Bad 2-pack, again, that packaging is fantastic. You get that cool window box with a great display, Skeletor shooting the Havoc staff at them to combine them into one character is just really, really cool. I just think it's a good look. I mean, this is what a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive should be. And I'll get back to it in a sec. I'm just going to check in with the chat. Jay says, "Did you get the new?" I assume he means Dreadnoks. I've got a couple of them. I haven't got the newest. There's one more I think that's come out that I haven't gotten yet. Jeff Morris is here. What's going on, Jeff? Ray Paz says probably diecast car for Jada. Yeah, maybe there might be a Mega Man too. I don't know. Um, uh, let's see. Yeah. Jimmy Buffett could hang with Chuckles in Margaritaville, who was last year's San Diego Comic Con exclusive. Star says, I heard an interview where even Jimmy Buffett is sick of that stuff. He said he can't go anywhere where someone's not buying him one of those drinks. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I can totally understand why. All right, moving on. The Loyal Subjects is a funny one. Loyal Subjects is doing the IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think they've done San Diego Comic Con exclusives from this line last year as well, and then released the figures in different colors. So they've done sort of exclusive colorways for San Diego Comic Con, and then released them as sort of standard ones in slightly different packaging, slightly different paint apps. Um, but I've heard very, very good things about these. The Janica figure is cool. That Foot Elite, I didn't include another picture, but that Foot Elite comes with like an alternate head and a whole bunch of weapons. Janica just looks really, really good. They've done the turtles. I've heard that the Loyal Subjects IDW line is very, very good. I have the Loyal Subjects kind of cartoon colored turtles, and they're fine, but I'm not jumping into the Loyal Subject stuff, as a result of it. I've heard that these are better, that the articulation is better, that the paint is better, that Loyal Subjects keeps getting better and better. I see them sort of on a not in the same way, but I kind of see them with like Jada in terms of companies that are smaller companies that are sort of getting better and like listening and seeing the feedback and sort of improving and stuff like that. So I'm excited that they're doing these. The IDW turtles are cool. I to the best of my knowledge, we haven't gotten most of these in figure form before, so I'm happy that we're getting them now. This two pack does look really really cool. Metalhead and Donatello. I love Donatello, so I'm kind of a sucker for it. Um, I am hoping that some of these show up at like Toys R Us in Canada or GameStop in Canada or something like that. Um, but sort of more on that, at the end when I talk about exclusives in general. Um, Jeff Morris, that would be terrible if somebody always bought me a free drink where I went. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's one of those problems that it's sort of like, yeah, it's a terrible problem if you don't want it, but it's also like there's a lot worse problems in the world. Star says, "Who's Jenica? Never heard of this character. She is sort of the fifth turtle now in IDW. I won't get into it. It's a long and complicated story. Yeah, IDW did like 150 issues of Ninja Turtles. So Ray Paz says, I like the IDW Turtles. Um, they need to fix the look of the joints, plus the accessories are too brittle. Okay, so Loyal Subjects is still not quite there. Um, but Ray says, I love the sculpts and the improvement in articulation, little by little. Yeah, exactly. Little by little. So that's they're making progress and they're working in the right direction. So that is good. In related news, because it is turtles, this is one of the cool things. So this is where the idea of going to San Diego Comic-Con really becomes more interesting, more exciting. Apart from all the really cool panels, and I would have loved to go to the Geek Dad Life Toy Tubers panel. I would love to be able to go to the small brand panel where Super 7 and Fresh Monkey Fiction and a couple others are doing a panel on talking about small toy companies. Super 7 has basically rented out a pizzeria, like a little pizza place in San Diego. The actual address is right there on that pizza pocket, that pizza box, 550 14th Street, San Diego, California. From 7 p.m. till close, they're taking over a pizza joint. You can go and buy Super 7 Turtle stuff. You can apparently they're making pizza. They're making weird pizzas. They're making, anchovy and jelly bean pizza or whatever. I don't know what they're gonna make. I hope there's lots of coverage of that event. That's the kind of thing that I would love to go to. San Diego Comic-Con in general, just walking the floor with that many people, shoulder to shoulder, the smells, the sounds, the tastes. I don't know that it would really be my thing, but a pop-up San Diego Comic-Con pop-up, Mikey's Pizzeria, I think will be a really, really cool thing to get to see and to get to experience. Super 7 has a ton of exclusive stuff for San Diego Comic-Con. That being said, a lot of it is available after the fact. A lot of it they've said is going to be available, Monday on the website in limited quantities. So I don't there's a couple things I might try to get, not a ton. Um, but I will try. Anyway, there's this Pizza Time Super 7 Ultimates Michelangelo and the Party Wagon turned Pizza Wagon are also going to be available at that pizzeria apparently. Now, the cool thing about the Pizza Wagon is that they have said if you buy this thing, they don't expect you to have to put it in your luggage and get it home. They'll ship it to you. They will ship you'll get domestic shipping within the United States, continental United States, if you purchase this thing. Now, again, these to me are perfect San Diego Comic-Con exclusives because if you got the party wagon, you don't need the pizza wagon. And if you feel like you need the pizza wagon, you can probably get it on Monday through Super 7. But no one needs a pizza wagon. Let's be honest. It's an awesome thing to exist. I love that they're doing it. I love that they're doing, Michelangelo with a soft goods apron, with a soft goods hat, more pizza slices. But, I've already got Michelangelo plus Sewer Surfer Michelangelo, maybe the 2003 Michelangelo soon enough. Do I need pizza time Michelangelo? That's a hard one. I'm not a Ninja Turtles completist, so this to me, these are both sort of sitting in that, space and money not an issue maybe, but I'm not gonna be trying to get them right now. Um, Star says such a Mario vibe going on with that van. Yeah, totally, totally. A couple of Super 7 exclusives that I am very interested in. This Super 7 T-shirt, I just really like the design of it. I like that I just like it. I think it's cool. And then Thriller Gorilla in the reaction line, I think those are both really, really cool. I may, if they're there on the 29th, they may end up in my cart. Um, and then the last Comic Con exclusive items that I want to talk about are the three that I think I'm most excited about. They are the Super 7 Ultimates Thundercats offering from San Diego Comic Con. I already have Lino. I already have Mumra. I don't have Groon. So only one of these would be one that I don't have the character yet. But they all look really, really cool. Um, Scott Baker says, "My brain says I need the pizza wagon, even though my party wagon is still in the box." It's a sickness. Indeed, I get it. Star says, "What are the other three doing while Mike is in the kitchen?" My guess is, Raph and Leo are playing video games. Donatello's probably tinkering. That's my guess. I don't know. Thanos says that light up Mom Ra looks rad. It really does. Star says that's the guy that killed Conan's family. Huh? Maybe, I don't know. He does. He does. Yeah, I get it. I get it. The one on the right looks so silly with that smiley face. Does he have a smiley? I don't think he has a smiley face. Anyway, let's take a little bit of a closer look. So they're doing Mumra and Lino with light up eyes. Now, this is really interesting for a few reasons, and this brings up probably more questions than it does answers. At least for me. The light up eyes is something that the LJN figures had in the 80s, which makes me really, really interested in this. I'm very much looking forward to seeing if they have like an actual physical reveal of this at San Diego Comic Con. I want to know how the eyes light up. Is it gonna have like a little key thing, like a little thing that shines in his back? Is it just light piping through the head? How did the eyes light up? I haven't seen anybody sort of reference that yet. The other thing that I'm really, really interested in here is the swords. I saw a picture somewhere that looked like the sword might be like vac metal or like a really metallic looking painted sword, which is an improvement over the plastic one that we've gotten in previous versions. A couple other people have said that they don't think this is the same body that they've used for Lion-O before. There's a lot of people saying just what Scott Baker is mentioning. I think this is the first pinless Lion-O. So the original Lion-O from like wave 1 had pins. They did that Mirrorverse Lion-O that was, I believe, pinless, but I don't know if it was a new buck or if it was just pinless arms. A lot of people are suggesting, but I haven't seen any confirmation, that this is an entirely new buck. I don't know if the articulation is better. I don't know. I don't know. I need to know a lot more. Um, because the version of Lino that they've done in the Super 7 Ultimates before is good. This could be an upgrade. I also want to know if it's going to be the same color as the existing Lino because the light up eyes don't have the pupil. And so I don't know if I'm gonna wanna have those light up eyes on the figure all the time, but if I can swap the heads, I don't know. I don't know. I need to know more about this. Thanos Robo said it was a new sculpt. Okay, there you go. So it's a new sculpt. I want to know more though. Let's see. Let's see. Thanos says magnet like they did with Illidan. I don't know anything about Illidan, but that makes sense. I've seen those before. Okay, so but and then how do you get a battery in there? Like, where's that? How does that work? I need to know more. I still need to know more. The magnet would make sense that it's actually like a magnet and there's a battery in his head and it actually turns on an LED. That would be awesome because that would, oh my goodness, they would look so good on the shelf. Um, and Scott Baker says it's the mirror Lino body. Okay, so there you go. I was gonna buy a mirror Lino to swap the arms, so I guess now I don't have to do that. I don't want that mirror Lino. Um, well, okay, so this is where I'm. This is like different people are sort of saying different things, and I'm not saying any one of you is right or anybody. I just want to hear like from Super Seven, and I haven't seen it yet, but there seems to be like conflicting information here. Brick says I assume it lights up how Thanos said, but never asked Kyle. Kyle did confirm. Um, did he confirm with you? I'll ask Kyle. I've been chatting with Kyle recently. I'll ask him. I told him I wouldn't bother him between now and San Diego Comic Con because I want to learn for myself. And some of these things, some things, like I said, Ray, some things I don't know and I don't ask because I kind of want to find out. And this is sort of in that realm. But Brick says Kyle did confirm that it's 100% new sculpt, head to toe, new buck, but it's before he did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one, single elbow. So it's still single elbow. I'm okay with that. They do show him, with the Sword of Omens in front of his face, and you can't do that with his figure. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing there. Um, Scott Baker can't see them doing a new buck for an exclusive. I could see them using this new buck to make other figures though. Like they could. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just a retool. Like maybe certain parts are being retooled. Like those arms and legs could be the mirror Lino arms and legs. Maybe not to sort of go against what you said here, Brick, in terms of it being head to toe new sculpt. Maybe Kyle meant it's a new sculpt head to toe from the version of Lino that we've gotten before. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Rick says Kyle confirmed that Mumra's chest. Yes, we'll absolutely get there. Yeah. But there's that's tricky though because of the articulation. Anyways, yeah, like I said, I need more information. I need some of these things confirmed. And Brick says it's not the mirror Lionel. Okay, so that's I and Brick says Kyle told me via Instagram. Okay. Scott says I'm confusing things. Don't ever listen to me. No, I mean it'll probably come out eventually. It's information that it's not sort of readily available right now, and I want to know because like I said, I already have Lino. I already have Mumra. And there's not a whole lot that's new in here apart from, and I don't think it's a new Mumra. I think it's the same Mumra, but it would have to be different because the chest is I want to know. I need to know before I'm going to buy them. Let's see. Star says, I want someone to do Thundercats sculpted after real world cats. Maybe one day, maybe one of those third-party companies, Fury Toys or Fury Toys, or some a 5K, someone that's doing 5K stuff. Star says, I think I'd rather get AWOCs and customize them into Thundercats. They'll look a lot better with a superior figure to start with. Well, I've seen an AWOC Lion-O, and it looked awesome. So you might be onto something. Mr. Backtastics, do you think online retailers might get these eventually? Absolutely. And that's so speaking specifically about Super 7, they've said that they're going to go these will be available in small quantities on their website on Monday. Now, I haven't seen when, I haven't seen what the quantities will be, but I have seen retailers pick up the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives in previous years, sometimes like 6 months after the fact. So, I don't know. Brick says, "Yeah, we're all very curious about the same things. I just happen to be talking with Kyle about other things when the teas dropped, so I asked." Yeah, I've been asking him about those 2003 turtles because I need. Well, I'll probably talk about that next week on the show. I need a little bit more. I need a bit of a push on those 2003 turtles. So I was talking to Kyle about those. Um, I was 50-50 when I started talking to him, and I'm about 60-40 now. Um, and I said, I'll wait. I said, okay, I don't want to push it. I'll wait till San Diego. I want to see them posed. I want to see them, in physical form. I want to see a little bit more, and then I'll sort of make my decision. Um, are you hinting again? No, no, not at all. Do you mean in terms of the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Thundercats? No, it was a one-off. It was a custom figure. I'm just saying that the figures painted that way look fantastic. Jay Wright, Marvel better finish the Crystar line. That would be a great opportunity. How many more figures would they need to do? I don't know Crystar. They've only done one figure. So, like, how many figures would the Crystar line need to be, in your opinion? And anybody's opinion. Brick, I know you're into that. I think Thanos, you're into the Crystar stuff too. Let me know in the chat. And if you're watching on the replay, let me know in the comments, which of these you like, and if you want more Crystar stuff. Scott Baker, I started watching the 2003 series yesterday for the first time, and of course, I'm 200 plus bored today. It is. I will say this: the 2003 cartoon is the closest, in my opinion, to the comic books. So the 2003 cartoon is really, really good. I only watched it about 4 years ago. But I really enjoyed it. But I don't have the same nostalgia for those turtles, and I already have other turtles, and so it's like that's where the 40% apprehension is. Like, I've already got turtles, but I don't have any 2003 turtles, and I like that articulation. So that's where the 60%, leaning towards it is. But anyways, um, Jay says maybe 6 more to do all of Crystar. Maybe. I mean, that Crystar figure got a lot of really good reviews. People were talking about that figure a lot. So I just don't know how that brand team sort of works. And, maybe we'll see one more this year. Maybe we'll see another one in 2025. I don't know. Anyways, very excited about these light up figures. I just need to know a lot more. The one that I really do want, and I didn't know that I wanted. No, I did know that I wanted this. I said I don't have Groon. And the reason that I don't have Groon is that I love the episode where Ghost Groon fights Ghost Jaga. I now have Ghost Jaga, so I feel like I need Ghost Groon. This one to me is like this is a great San Diego Comic-Con exclusive again because Groon is out there, he exists, people have Groon. But if you've got Ghost Jaga, I feel like you need Ghost Groon. So I feel like they've got you now that they've done Ghost Jaga. I feel like they'll they'll sell like 1-to-1. Anybody that has Jaga needs Groon. Plus, I'm a sucker for translucent figures, so they kind of got me with this one. I'm not going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, so I am in the same boat as sort of everybody else that's going to be trying to scramble to find one of these on Super 7 site or hope that, somebody can source one for me or anything like that. I haven't actually reached out to anybody. I don't know. I know a few people that are going to San Diego Comic-Con. I haven't reached out to anybody. It'll be I try not to. I know that people get busy. I know that lots of people reach out and stuff like that. If somebody's going and they want to get Groon, I would be very appreciative. But I am gonna try to get it on Monday. So no chewing is here. What's going on? Good to have you. Um Scott Baker, as far as Turtles says, 2012 is my favorite series, but that's probably because my daughter loves that one. Ah, for me, it's still the 80s one. For me, it's still the original cartoon. Um, but I love all of them in different ways. The 2012 one might be my least favorite, to be honest. I actually really like the Netflix one because that was the first one that my kids got into. I really love Mutant Mayhem, and I really, really can't wait to see that series. Um, but yeah. Star is asking in the original Thundercats movie premiere, where is showed them leaving their home world on disc anywhere? I remember watching it when it debuted in prime time. It's just the disc thing is I think just in I think the first time you see it is in that episode where where Jaga and Groon battle. I think I'm not do not consider me your sort of Thundercats wiki of information. I genuinely don't know. Um, but from like I watched that episode about a year ago, and I hadn't seen it before. It was just sort of like, oh, and this is how we get Groon. We break this seal, and then you get Groon. But I don't. I yeah, I don't know. I do not know. All right. That's all the exclusives that I wanted to talk about. We're at just about an hour and 10 minutes. We're going to be coming up on time for the episode. So I am going to pull this down and give my thoughts on exclusives. I don't think I've done this on this in like on my own show. I have sort of mentioned this to people, and so if you've heard my sort of take on exclusives, um, tune out or do whatever you want. Go get your snack and bathroom break early before Brick Something is on at 3:45 today. Um, but my feeling about exclusives is that they should be hard to get. I think in the world that we live in now, we forget that the past existed in some way, and it's weird because we're all nostalgic for these properties. We all want these toys, and these toys are awesome, and we want them because they're awesome. But I think to if you make something too easy to get, then what's the point of calling it an exclusive? And I've sort of heard somebody explain it relatively recently, and it's sort of like, and I can't remember who it is, so I apologize to the person who sort of said this. But what they kind of said was, we were talking about earlier. I was talking about like if you're going to San Diego Comic Con, like for me, that's a flight, that's hotels or accommodations, that's transportation, that's food. It costs a lot of money to go to San Diego Comic Con. Um, and so access to these exclusives feels like kind of a reward for your pilgrimage to San Diego Comic Con. The same I would say for, Legion's Con or Power Con or whatever, right? Joe Fest. If I can just go online and get these, it kind of it's like a little bit like it kind of sucks if you go all the way to the con. I mean, it doesn't suck to go to a con. Like you get the experience and you get to be the part of, you get to go to the pizzeria and so on and so forth. And if this, if Ghost Jaga was available 6 months later because they had some left, that's fine. If Ghost Groon came up 6 months later, that's fine. I totally get it. I think when people kinda grumble about like, "Oh, it shouldn't be so hard to get a figure," it's sort of like, well, lots of figures aren't hard to get, right? Um, so if 1 in 10 is harder to get or 1 in 30 or 1 in 50 or whatever it is, I kinda like that. I kinda like that there's a little bit of a like a hunt. There's a little bit, you have to put in a little bit more work for these. And I'm totally okay with that. It to me, it's sort of a little bit of a reward, right? And whether you get to the convention yourself and it's sort of a reward for you getting there, or it's a little bit of a reward for you for sort of hunting or whatever. But I mean, if somebody pays a whole bunch of money to go to San Diego and gets these figures, um, it sh- I shouldn't be able to just log in on Monday morning to my computer and be like, "Well, I got all the exclusives." Like, that was hard. It should be a little bit harder. That's my take. And the funny thing is now that I'm sort of on the side of like I'm involved with sort of the toy making side, I push to make certain toys a little harder to get than others because I just think, again, now like I said, I think certain exclusives are better than others. If Lion-O if you could only get Lion-O at San Diego Comic-Con and that's the only place you could get it, I would completely understand why people would be absolutely up in arms about that, especially if it was like, "Oh, you can get all the other Thundercats, you can get all the other mutants, but Lion-O is, like, really hard to get." That would be ridiculous, and I understand when people are angry about those ones. But being angry about, like, deep cuts or, like, repaints or recolors or translucent versions of figures that are already out there, I like it. I like it. I like and it's toys, right? Like I said, I've said this before. I say it again. We don't need any of this. We want this stuff, and the fact that it triggers some people, I do. I don't think people should be triggered by it, but I do get a little bit of joy when people get triggered by something being hard to find because you can always get it. We live in a world where if you can't get to San Diego Comic-Con, you can buy it on eBay. It's gonna be expensive, but you can't say that you can't get it. You can only say that you can't get it at the price that it's available for at the con, and you can't get it on the day. Everything is available. I work in retail, and I've said to customers before, I can get you anything you want if you're willing to pay for it, and that is the reality of the world that we live in, is that if I don't get Ghost Groon and I wanna get Ghost Groon, it may cost me more money, but it'll be out there. I will be able to get it. Everything is available. So, nothing at the end of the day, nothing is truly exclusive. Um, yeah, but that's my rant. That's it. I think exclusive should be hard to find. I think every company should have kind of a white whale that's a little bit elusive and a little bit, tougher to get, and I think they should all be translucent. Maybe not that part, but um, let's see. Uh, yes, Ray Paz, good point. Brutal Realms will be on Brick Something's channel. I didn't talk about Brutal Realm. I know that Brick is going to be talking about it, and I know that probably everyone that's watching this is going to be watching that. So, um, cool looking Kickstarter. I had that figure in hand and at Joe Fest, and it is a really nice figure. Um, so definitely worth backing those guys over on the Brutal Realm Kickstarter. Um, yeah, and Scott Baker says to star in relation to the question about traveling on discs. It's on the complete series DVD. Um, if you look up the episode, like it's called Ghosts. I think the episode's called Ghost something. You could probably just look it up on YouTube. It's probably not hard to find, but they kind of explain it. Um, Let's see. Let's see. Star says, I'm not a fan of exclusives, especially the way Mezco did with their comic version Punisher. I don't know about that one, so I can't speak to that. Um Ray Pads it says you also have to realize if they have I think you mean a minimum order quantity, MOQ, you need to move this stuff. That's part of it too. San Diego Comic Con exclusive. The smallest factory run I've heard of is like 500 units. So that's still a lot of units of one thing to move. Um, but most MOQs are higher than that. Um, Exclusives are nice, but it should be available to all fans. But then it's not exclusive. That's my point. That's what I'm saying is like it, ultimately everything is available to everybody, but it's also like, to this point, Ray, and I'm not trying to pick on you and I'm not saying I disagree with you. It would be cool if everything was available to everyone, right? But by the same token, it's sort of like, Super 7 Ultimates at $55, you could almost make the argument that they're not available to all fans, right? There's certain like HasLabs, you could make the argument it's not available to all fans. What can you do? How can you make something available to all fans? I think we get kind of stuck in the weeds. I think we kind of get confused about like what's the threshold for like available to everyone versus exclusive? Like I don't know. I mean, it gets very complicated. I don't think there's a perfect solution. I'm just giving my opinion. It's just I like the idea that some toys are harder to find. Ray Pat says just limit the amount made. Uh, but then don't you just make it harder to get? Like, isn't that, does limiting the amount that you make, like, does that, isn't that in some way contrary to your previous point? If you don't make enough of them for everybody, don't you sort of limit who can get it? And then is it still available to all fans? I don't know. Um, Scott Baker says, I like the way Four Horsemen does exclusive, different packaging with an extra piece, but you can still get the figure later on. I really like the way they do that too. Recent examples of that, they did like Demistros, which was their was he PowerCon exclusive? PowerCon or ZoloCon? I think PowerCon last year, where he had an alternate head, different packaging. So, it's a version that you can't get, but you can still get a version of that. I would say that, Ghost Groon is sort of that too, right? Like it's the translucent version of a figure that exists. Mumra is a different version of a figure that exists. Lion-O is effectively, new sculpt aside, a new different version of a figure that already exists. So you can still get these characters. Like it's just sort of, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Brickside says that rationale makes sense. Flip side, it sucks if a con is so out of reach for people, and San Diego Comic Con can suck when people are there and the scalpers fill the lines. It used to piss me off so much. Yes. Yeah, and I mean, you can limit how many people are allowed to buy at the con. You can do the portal thing, which people don't love or agree with or whatever. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's no perfect way to do it. Um, Jay Wright says, I live without exclusives, not losing sleep over any of them. Absolutely. I'm right there with you, Jay. And again, I've said this before, as somebody living in sort of a relatively sort of smaller part of, or sort of less connected, more rural part of the world. I never dreamed of having exclusives when I was younger. And so that's again part of like our modern world that's so interconnected. We all feel like we can get these, that they're right at our fingertips. I'm nowhere near San Diego, but I'm like, oh, if I could get somebody, if I could get it shipped, I'll go on this website, I'll do this thing, as opposed to, 35 years ago, flipping through Wizard magazine and being like, oh, wow, that's cool. It's cool that people got that at San Diego Comic Con a month ago. my life always went on and it always will, right? These are just toys. So, um, let's see. Um, let's see. Brick, do we think Once a Man Coco will truly be an exclusive to San Diego Comic Con, or will there be some version of that figure available elsewhere? Again, Hasbro has said that there will be some available on Pulse at some point. They haven't said when. They haven't said how many. Uh, in previous years, San Diego Comic Con exclusives have been available for pre-order through GameStop in Canada. So it's a convoluted thing, and it's I don't know. I mean, because I don't think the distribution is perfect either. If they were just in a pile on a table at San Diego Comic Con and that was the only way to get them, I'd almost be like happier that way, because the whole maybe I'll get one through this channel or this portal or whatever. That's where it kind of gets confusing and tough. But um, let's see. I'm not reading. I'm not gonna. I'm trying to wrap up. So I am skipping a lot of this sort of back and forth about like Ray. I see your comments. Star, I see your comments. Brick, I see more of your comments as well. Um, but I unfortunately just don't have time. Quip is here. What's up, Quip? Um, let's see. Jay says, when does that Sasquatch drop on Big Bad Toy Store for Monster Force? I have heard it will be 2025. But it could be sooner than that. I don't know. But Jay, I know people that know people. So as soon as I know, I will definitely let you know. Let's see. Scott Baker says, I don't understand people getting angry about it. If you have to spend a little extra on eBay or wherever, I can guarantee it's way cheaper than the airfare, hotel, food, rental car, and con tickets. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, that's where it's sort of like, I don't know. Also, they're toys. We're this isn't a lottery for cancer surgery, right? We're talking about a lottery to get a see-through plastic doll. So I don't know. Um, um, let's see, let's see, let's see. AWOC needs to make Sasquatch. No. Um, Scott Baker says Skullman, who is Demistros, was Zolocon exclusive. Um, let's see. Uh, mm, mm. Okay. So Brick reached out to Kyle, I guess, while we were chatting. LED is in the torso with the lights in the ball joint at the neck. Okay. I haven't popped the heads off of those figures. So I guess the ball joint is fixed. So you can have limited articulation at the head. You'll get, a bit of a bobblehead thing, but he won't be able to look up as far or down as far. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Um No Chewing says I hated the Portal experience, super disappointing. It seems confusing is what it's like. It kind of, I don't know. I don't know. Um uh no, no chewing. I ended up with a Funko Pop head. Um yeah, all right. That's all I've got. We are at 125. I don't like going over 90 minutes. So um we are going to wrap up. Let me see what I got going on here. I am happy to not be going to San Diego. I will say that, like I've said before, I'm very much an introvert, and if I do end up at San Diego Comic Con, hopefully it'll because I'm there, either for a table or for a panel or something like that. Because the whole process sounds so overwhelming to me that I'm okay with not getting the exclusives. I can live without them if it means that I don't have to you know, fight those crowds and sort of just all that stuff. Ross just caught the tail end. Ross sculpted the snake, the man snake, the once a man snake. Um, very nice and very timely of you to join us, Ross. As I wrap up, um, all right, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. I enjoy having you guys in the chat, even if we disagree, because a lot of the stuff that I talk about is just my opinion, man. And if you disagree, that's cool. I don't think anybody's ever gonna agree on exclusives. I don't think we need to, and I don't think it really changes anything. Um, I've got my thoughts. You all have got your thoughts. I'm gonna make it my mission to make an exclusive that's like so sought after and so hard to get that everybody calls me out on how hard it is. It'll be like a one of one, and people will be fighting each other in the streets just to get it. No, I would never do that. I do, on one level, Ray, I completely agree with you. Toys should be available to everybody. But I do like the excitement and sort of the hype. So yeah, I don't know. Timed release, extra parts if you get the exclusive one versus I don't know. I mean, who knows? The debate rages on. All right. Take a bathroom break, go get a snack, and then tune into Brick Something's channel and in about about 10 minutes now. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will talk to you guys all again very, very soon. Till next time. Bye bye.